and your local Bumper to Bumper certified service centers.
It's Thursday. I like saying it's Thursday. I like it a lot better tomorrow when I say it's Friday, but it's Thursday. A couple days left of this week, and we've got the Bumper to Bumper car and truck doctors in. That is yours right there, Joe. We're taking a look at the microphone. Wow. Somebody wants to rock and roll somewhere.
It gets a little early for a dance.
Yeah, right now it is. For definite for me. Blake's here, and the man who started this program with me about 25 years ago is sitting in the studio with me. Joe is here from Joe's Garage. Good to see him again.
Morning, guys.
I'll be here for a couple of for today. Next week I'll be gone. The week after I'll be gone. So it will be a couple of weeks that I won't be here. I'm heading out on vacation. This is the time I go. I go in the beginning of September.
Yep.
Yeah, I was wondering why you were here this morning. I figured.
Yeah, I
you
know.
were
I surprised you. You had a big surprised look on your face. Like,
well, I was expecting it just to be
slept
me and
later.
Joe, and we were just going to talk about Joe's Garage all day long.
You could
You
have.
can do that,
Yeah, I was going to say there's some.
but that's going to be boring.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Could have been all kinds of stories. Hey, not to confuse everybody, but we're in the Lucas Total Wealth Studios, and you want to schedule your total wealth evaluation today so that you can thrive in retirement at totalwealth.com. So David Lucas, we'll have him when I get back from Florida. We'll get David in here as well, and he can sit down and tell us how retirement and getting ready for retirement has changed, because some things have changed.
I'm sure they have.
You know, I'll tell you one thing: you should have gold or silver in your portfolio right now. Anyway, guys, it's been hotter than blazes this year. This is the hottest summer I've gone through since I got here back in 2000. In 2000, we were going through a big time heat.
Yeah.
Well, we were 13 days into it when I got here. When I came to Little Rock, I remember emptying out the U-Haul, and it was 113 degrees inside that U-Haul. And it felt like it was 113 degrees. It was really miserable.
Speaking of that, how hot was it in your shop this week, Joe?
Not too hot. We got it air conditioned, so
About 80 degrees, 75.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
That's good, man. He takes care of his
He does
people.
take care of his
You need to
guys.
talk to your dad.
I wish. I've tried. Let's see. I want to say last Tuesday it was 112 over my toolbox,
Ooh.
and all I did every 30 minutes was walk outside and tell everybody to go in and take a break and drink some water.
Mhm.
Well, that's about the key.
It's hard to get anything done when it's that hot, but it's always like this in the summertime.
Well, when it gets that hot, it slows you down. There's just no way you
Yeah.
can't slow
Yeah,
down.
you get upset. You get pissed off when you're working on trucks. It just happens.
Yeah.
It's nothing you can do.
Well, it happens normally when
Mhm.
it's 112 degrees
Mhm.
and you're working that heat. It happens a little bit, probably a little bit more regularly.
Yeah.
Or when you're in the garage. So how has it been with the heat this year? It's been a little bit different, I'm sure, because we haven't had a summer like this in a while.
No, it's been hot since June, I guess, middle of June, early June.
Well, we had a lot of spells without any water, no rain. Then we get a
Very
few
dry.
days of rain, and then they go back to heat again. But all that stuff in automotive, as far as the heat goes, it drives our business because you have a lot of overheating symptoms when it's that hot, right?
Yeah, I mean, the hotter it is, the more stuff that breaks.
And that's just the way it works. But in the summertime is our busiest season most of the time because of that reason. That and folks getting their car serviced, go on vacation, just like you're going to in the next
Yep.
week, So we do a lot of that, and getting ready for winter too. We got to plan on that a little bit too, don't we, Blake?
Yeah. I always tell people it's a good time to get your coolant checked, get stuff like that checked out. Make sure that its temperature is good right now while you can. But just if you feel like something's wrong, call one of us. If you hear a weird noise or something's different out of the blue, out of the ordinary, give one of us a call. We're happy to help you out.
Well, when there's a light on your dashboard, you want to fix it so that it goes out. I don't know about you guys. I'm sure that you guys feel like I do, and that is when you see a light. They don't call them idiot lights because you're dumb and you can't understand the light. We call it idiot lights because a lot of people look at the lights and do things like put pictures of their girlfriend over top of it and things of that nature, as though that makes the light go away.
Definitely not the 16-year-old kid's truck I worked on last week. Yep.
So
Exactly
do you have a light on?
Exactly like that. He had a check engine light on and a picture of his girlfriend right in front of it. Good kid. We fixed the light though.
Okay, so was it a serious problem?
Yeah, it was a misfire. Been driving it like that for 2 months.
Well, he's lucky. A lot of times when the misfires damage some other components like the catalytic converters and make a relatively minor repair turn into a very costly one.
That's what I told him. When you have, like I said, when you feel something's wrong, like your engine's shaking and it's causing your butt to shake in the seat, you should get it checked out and don't just keep driving it and cover up the light.
Yeah.
Because like Joe said, it can get expensive quick if it damages other components. A lot of newer cars, if they have an issue with a misfire, it'll kill the injector so it's not constantly running raw fuel down that cylinder. But still, get it checked out as soon as possible. Yeah, but that's how it is.
Okay, so you just said something that caught my attention.
Yeah.
So your car will try to do things to fix things.
Yeah.
Most
modern cars in the last, say, 10 years, maybe 15, just depends on what you drive. If it notices that you have a dead miss, say you have a spark plug bad or cool pack bad or something to that effect, it will kill the fuel injector to that cylinder so that it's not dumping raw fuel down that hole and causing that raw fuel to go into the catalyst and then burn up your catalyst. Because that's usually like what Joe said. That's what happens when you have a misfire. It's dumping all that raw fuel into the cat, and then it melts the cat out of it. I've seen it a number of times. You get it in there, and the cat is just melted. It's ceramic. I mean, it overheats with that raw gas. It cooks inside of it, and it melts. So new cars know what's going on, and they'll kill that. And so a lot of times you may fix the miss, and it'll still be missing because you have to go in and relearn all of the profiles in the ECM before you can do anything else.
Yeah, and it'll warn you, give you other warnings too, not to ignore that light.
Oh yeah,
it'll start turning off your accessories. For instance, your cruise won't work, air won't work. Go in and get it fixed.
yeah, especially when it's something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, just get it checked out. I mean, if you have a light on right now, just get it checked out. We're not trying to take advantage of you. We want to help you just as much as you want to help anybody you know. We treat everybody like family in our businesses. That's all we can do.
You want to make sure that your car is running in top-notch condition, because if one thing goes wrong, it can lead to other things going bad.
Absolutely.
As well. So you want to be very, very careful about that. I know Joe got tired of my old minivan that I had. I drove that, Blake. I
didn't know you when you had a minivan.
Oh no, and I drove it into the ground. I really did.
Dodge Caravan.
It was.
Oh man.
And I drove it into the ground, didn't I, Joe?
You drove it for a long, long time. That's for sure. You got every mile you could out of it.
Everybody, people who know me will tell you I can be awful tight with the dollar. And I didn't want to have a new car payment. I knew I was going to have one because when I replaced it. So I fixed it and fixed it. Well, I didn't fix it. Joe fixed it and fixed it and fixed it until he looked at me one day and he said, "No more fixing this, Dave. You need a new car."
Yep. I've had that discussion with people before too.
Time to give up on it because
you're spending a car payment every month on parts.
That's it.
As long as I was under a car payment, I was happy to keep working on it.
You get over that, it's not a good experience.
The mechanic also loves it when that same car comes in every 30 to 60 days and, what's wrong with it now?
Well, that's kind of, Joe got to the point where he hated to hear me Elswick called. Why?
That being said, I'd rather you pay me any day of the week than pay Chrysler Corporation. So,
well, yeah, because now you're really paying.
Oh yeah, you can't get a cheap car anymore.
It's hard. It's difficult. I mean, I had to get another car, and I didn't go to the showroom and buy something off the floor. I bought somebody's other car that they had used. It got about 48,000 miles on it, and
Mhm.
now with engines the way that they are now, that's that's just the start of the lifespan of an engine.
Hmm.
As long as they're took care of in those first 48,000 miles. That's
Really, it makes a huge difference if you change your oil more than the factory recommends.
I
How long
do.
the engine will last. I
Joe, I
harp on
tell
that.
you, I do.
Sure.
I do 3,000 miles, even though the computer may say you got time. You
Mhm.
know, you still got 40% of your life, not by my teaching that I got from my dad.
Mm.
And my dad said change it every 3,000 miles, and I followed it. And my SUV, I still have it, and it's got over 300,000 miles on that engine.
Yep.
Hey, this is a good segue to my favorite part of this show. If you have college age kids or high school age kids,
There you go.
will you call them today? This is Blake telling you. Call them today. Tell them to go get their oil changed because I know some of you have kids that need their oil changed right now. I know you're listening to this. You got grandkids. Tell them to go get their oil changed. I know they need it. Or check their oil. Tell them when they get gas today, check their oil. You'd
Yeah,
be
if
surprised.
the car still has a dipstick.
If the car still has a dipstick, more than likely they're having one with
Yep.
a dipstick. And you'd be surprised how many vehicles come in the shop. Weird misses, weird running issues, tapping sounds, rattling sounds. A lot of things can be contributed to low oil. So just
Low.
have them check it.
And depleted oil.
Oil goes bad. Motorhomes, we do motorhomes. I tell my customers once a year or every 10,000 miles, especially on a diesel,
Mhm.
which it's almost always just once a year because oil does go bad, even if it's just sitting there not getting used.
Well, what happens is if it sets up a lot with the condensation, the engine's hot, you park it, you shut it off, it's hot, cools down, the air outside gets cool, you get condensation inside the engine, and that is moisture, and the moisture mixed with oil and it depletes the oil.
Yeah. So anyways, call your kids, tell them to get their oil changed.
And it changes the viscosity of the oil the longer it's in your engine, right?
Well, and it kills the additives that the companies put in it. It's not like it was when you were a kid, Joe, when you guys were kids and they just sucked it out of the ground and dumped it right in the front of your engine block. Everything's got a dozen different additives in it now. That
See, you're making fun of me. That's all right.
Well, I
because
didn't
you're
talk
right.
about the brontosaurus you wrote in on.
That's what I was just going to say. We used to kill the brontosaurus at the
Oh.
beginning of the year. By the end of the year, he broke down into several quarts of oil.
Yep. But they have all these additives and everything in full synthetic oils, and they break down over time, especially with moisture intrusion and heat cycles. So just do your oil changes more often than you're supposed to. But we talk about that all the time. I'm sure you guys have heard us plenty, but I just like to tell that. Just tell your kids to get their oil changed because kids don't think about it.
We probably do more about changing oil is a normal thing for your car than any other issue that we talk about here on this program.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maintenance is the life of anything.
Yeah.
If you don't maintain it, it's not going to live.
Yeah.
It's going to prematurely break, wear out, have issues. So,
And you want to, and let me use those same words that Joe used, you want to put the oil back in your car that it was born with.
that's correct. You don't want to be changing that. If you change it and it's still under factory warranty and you change it to a heavier weight or don't use the proper oil, you have a mechanical failure in the engine, they won't warranty it because they will do samples on it.
Yeah.
And
They
lack
sample
of
everything.
maintenance, they won't warranty it either.
So that's why you guys put everything on a computer now, right?
Well, everything, you look up the specs on it. And,
Yeah. I pay $500, $600 a month
Yeah.
for ProDemand. And
yeah.
it tells my guys everything they need to know on the to start working on things and oil specifications and what goes in the front and rear end and everything like that. It's not cheap anymore.
No, and putting back what the manufacturer recommends. Don't get me wrong. We all know the manufacturers don't make any lubricants,
Mm-hmm.
but they put out the spec sheet for it, and then they put it out for bid, and whoever bids on it gets the contract, and they manufacture those lubricants
Mm-hmm.
as per the manufacturer specs. So if they're going to go put out the effort to do that to make it last, you ought to too. But don't be skipping and say, well, I can buy this oil cheaper. Don't do that. You're just taking away from the life of the engine.
Or especially like transmission fluids.
Yeah.
There's dozens of different types of
Yes.
transmission fluid now, and your car takes a very, very specific one. Like my Dodge, it's $35 a quart my cost.
Yeah.
And that's the only one I can put in it. That's it. There's nothing else. You can't do something else. It may run today, but it's not going to run long term.
That's fact.
Yep.
It's just temporary. And don't get us wrong. If you're someplace and you need oil, you got a leak, and you need to add oil to it, and you're out somewhere and they don't have the specified amount of what kind of oil it is, any oil is better than no oil.
That's right.
So put it in there.
That's right.
So
Yeah, we've talked about that as well, as far as if your car overheats out on the highway, you need to pull over and stop.
Oh yeah, don't be trying to drive the next exit.
No, pull over, cut it off, let it cool down. But I mean, that goes back to like what we were talking about earlier with the coolant. Get it checked now while you can. If you have a free day in the next few weeks, call us and get it checked out. We'll check the temperature, make sure you don't have any leaks or anything like that, especially if you've been noticing a drip or two in your garage. A lot of people just look over that and don't think anything of it. Oh, it's just air conditioning condensation. But if you notice something that's new,
well, you can tell the difference between oil or a lubricant and water. There's a big difference in the coloration and in the way it even sits on the floor. All right, let's get our first break in here on the Bumper to Bumper Certified Service Centers Car and Truck Doctors on the Dave Elswick Show. Good to have them in the studio today. We're going to talk about a little bit about wintertime. I know it's going to be close to 100 degrees today, but we'll be wishing it was near that come December. You'll be wanting that it was a lot warmer out for you than what it is right at that moment. Let's take the break, and then we'll come back here on the Dave Elswick Show 101. The answer with you in a moment.
If things don't change, can you imagine America in 20 years? Scary thought, isn't it? The good news is we have the power to take our nation back. Stay right here for all the information you need. 101.1, The Answer. When you need the news that matters most, you need the Doc Washburn Show. Live and local, Doc covers the latest breaking news from Arkansas and across the nation. Plus, he digs into the stories no one else is talking about, the issues that affect you, your family, and your community. Smart analysis, straight talk, real conversations. The Doc Washburn Show.
Hey, Doc, I appreciate you taking my call. I feel really confident to say anytime that I turn on the radio and you're on the radio, I know that I'm going to get accurate reporting. I'm going to get unbiased perspective, and I want you to know I appreciate it. You do an exceptional job. So I'm listening with intent because I know and I trust that you're going to give us the facts and not an opinion per se.
The Doc Washburn Show, weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. on 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk.
This is David Lucas. I have a question for you. Have you ever tried putting together a puzzle without the picture on the front of the box? You have all the pieces, but it's hard to see how they're supposed to fit together. And for many people, that's what retirement feels like. Even people who've worked hard and saved well still find themselves wondering and asking questions like, do we really have a plan or just a pile of accounts? Will our income last? Are we paying more in taxes than we should? And maybe the hardest question of all, if something happened to you tomorrow, would your spouse know where everything is, who to call, and what to do next? At Lucas Total Wealth, we help families bring everything together through our Thrive Planning Framework. You can learn more at TotalWealth.com. That's TotalWealth.com. Don't just retire, plan to thrive.
Investment advisory services are offered through Lucas Total Wealth, an Arkansas registered investment advisor. Arkansas Insurance License, number 1-615-2743.
There's a real battle going on, not only for our future, but that of our children and grandchildren. How do we ensure they have it better than we do? One way is to keep listening to us. We're your information source in the battle. 101.1, The Answer. The Car and Truck Doctor Show is back. Sponsored by Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts and these dealers. Joe's Garage in North Little Rock, Mid-State Transmission and Auto Repair in Benton, and Pinnacle Automotive in Little Rock. Now, here's Dave Elswick on 101.1, The Answer.
Yeah. I'm lucky that I'm here in the studio today. Joe from Joe's Garage is here, and then Blake is here from Duck's Garage. Duck is back on uh, doing some traveling around.
You know, he let me have a week off, and now he's doing what he wants again.
Okay,
I guess a week and a half.
and he's getting out and
He's just at his
back.
cabin in North Arkansas. I don't know what he's doing up there. Enjoying the rain, probably.
well, he sure does enjoy going up to his cabin up there,
Yeah.
and that's a nice area up there off of Highway 5, going up towards.
It's up by Hardy.
Yeah,
That's where he's got it.
just north of Hardy. In
Yeah,
fact.
just in that area. No, he's just got a little land up there. He goes up there when he wants to be away, and lately we've been kicking him out a lot.
Go to the R&R. Nothing wrong with that.
No,
No.
nothing wrong with that.
There comes a time when you should be getting more R&R than you got when you were younger. When you're younger, you typically, want to be hands-on everything. But he's taught, his sons really well.
Yeah.
He's taught you, he's taught his older son. And if he's not around, things get done as if he were around.
Yeah, except for the spam calls we get asking for him all day long.
They love your dad.
They love him. He likes to answer and mess with them. And I'm like, if you keep answering, they're going to keep calling you because they know you're going to answer.
Yeah, I block them as soon as I know it's a spam call. I hit the block on my phone. Now, my wife always says, "Well, they just changed numbers," and I said, "I'll block that one too." I just keep on blocking.
I can't imagine how many I'd have if I blocked them all. Hey, I want to talk about a story I read in the last week.
Okay.
It's about GM, the new cars they have coming out, 26 and up. The ADAS systems, the systems that do with, like, if you're following behind somebody in traffic and the car stops for you, or lane keep assist, or like the Blue Cruise, like the ones that drives for you. Like, we call that ADAS, ADAS, assisted driver. Somethings I can't think of it. But anyways, it's been a minute since I've taken that class. But GM has made it so that you can only buy brand new parts from GM and have them fixed at GM. You can't buy aftermarket parts for these new ADAS systems because every part you buy has a code with it that has to be programmed into the computer, and it can only be used one time. So you can't buy used parts. You can't buy parts off wrecked cars. You can't buy parts from aftermarket people like Bumper to Bumper, which are good people. And this is just for the ADAS system so far. But if it works out with this, what's to say it's not going to work out with everything else they sell?
So they're going to squeeze you for every penny they can get out.
They're trying to put people like me and Joe out of business. They don't want us working on your cars.
I'm agreeing with you. I don't like that too much either. Most manufacturers have got a 7-year patent on their property and their rights to make stuff. But you have to remember also that that GM really doesn't make anything. They put it out for bid.
Yeah, you're right.
So there's somebody else out there that's making it for them. And so, you would think that we would have some kind of recourse for parts, but some of that I think is insurance regulations. They don't want any used parts back on a car.
Well, yeah,
for those particular reasons.
I mainly just meant the aftermarket, that they're cutting out the aftermarket lobby for that. And then they're making it so that only their techs can do it. I can't afford an ADAS system set up anyway to relearn those parts. But still, in the future, maybe we can. Maybe one of us will. And
well, what about all the glass manufacturers and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. So exactly.
It's going to have to see how that plays out, I guess. But they are putting the screws to us in a lot of different areas for stuff like that. Even the fact that, after something's 10 years old, they don't even support it no more as far as a new part goes.
Oh, you want a part for it? No, we don't have that. You need an ABS module? No, it's been out of stock for 3 years.
Yeah, we don't make that part anymore.
No.
Well, they never made it to begin with, but somebody did.
Well, yeah.
They sold it on their shelf 5 years ago, but they don't sell it now.
Yeah.
And then the funny thing is, have you called any dealerships lately ordering parts?
Yeah.
Sometimes dealerships have gotten to the point now they won't give you the part number.
Correct.
So I'll call, say I need a mass airflow sensor for something, and they'll tell me, yeah, we have it, but we don't have it in stock, and we won't have it for a week. Would you like to order it? No, just give me the part number so I can make sure it crosses to the right number when I order it somewhere else. We can't give you the part number, sir.
Yeah.
That's against rules.
All right, we're going to take a break, then we'll come back and pick this topic up when we come back on the Dave Elswick Show. Joe is here. Blake is here. You're here. You're going to learn something today.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, you have heard me talk about All Family Pharmacy before, and there's a reason. They make it easy to get everyday prescriptions and medications. Their licensed physicians handle the prescription process, if appropriate. And what really stands out is their customer service. When you call, you talk to a real person who can actually help you. So please don't wait. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com. On this Thursday, I'm thinking about the situation in Iran, as I often do, because it is hurting our country. Apparently, the Iranian president, a secular guy, not a mullah, who represents the civilian government, and a parliamentary leader, also a secular guy, want to end the conflict with the United States because it's destroying Iran's economy. Is that true? Impossible to verify. What I do know is that these two men say anything publicly about ending the war, their lives will be in danger. Here are the facts. Inflation in Iran, 90%. Their money is worth nothing. 1 million jobs have been lost there. The Persians are beginning to starve. And that's the U.S. strategy. Make it impossible for the Iranian society to even function. That's why President Trump is waiting. Meantime, the fanatics in Tehran are offering a $10 million bounty to kill Baron Trump. Is that a good strategy? I don't believe so. Now, I don't understand how anybody in the world can have any sympathy for the zealots in Tehran. But some do. Back in a moment. Are you trapped in a timeshare you don't use, want, or can't get rid of? I endorse Lone Star Transfer. They are a family-owned company that's helped more than 40,000 owners legally and ethically exit their timeshares. I trust them. They'll review your situation, create a customized exit plan designed specifically for you. Please go to LoneStarTransfer.com or call 855-551-7066. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update.
The Car and Truck Doctor Show is back. Sponsored by Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts and these dealers. Dewdrop Auto Repair in Pine Bluff, Duck's Garage in Benton, and Jets Gas and Service in Little Rock. Now, here's Dave Elswick on 101.1, The Answer.
All right, 7:33 on a Thursday. Bumper to Bumper is here in the vestiges of Joe's Garage. Blake is here from Duck's Garage. If you have a question, 501-401-1011. That's the phone number to call, and we'll put you on the air with these guys, and they'll talk to you and ask you a bunch of questions to try to figure out what's going on with your automobile. Now, I will tell you that there is the possibility that it has to be hooked up to a computer so that they get all the information that they need. So they may be setting you up to come to their particular garage to be worked on, because more and more work that's done on the cars is done by computer, correct?
Well, you got to have a scanner, and you got to have the proper tools to test it and check it. And, you know, codes and lights on in there, that just gives us an idea where to look. Mm-hmm. Then we still have to do the process and the flow charts and test it properly, because our goal is not to hang parts on it, not to work on it, but our goal is to fix it.
That's right. Fix it, keep it fixed.
That's correct.
You don't want a Christmas tree car, right?
No. And, you know, we pay a lot of money just to be able to work on cars these days. I mean, I've got $50,000 worth of computers at the shop. Plus, we pay monthly just to log into some manufacturers.
Yes. Plus, we pay for updates every year, too.
Every computer I have is between $200 and $1,000 a year just to keep it up to date.
Mm-hmm.
And that runs up into the money, doesn't it?
Well, that's why we charge to diagnose and fix things like we have to now. I mean, it's not cheap anymore. It's just
Yeah,
expensive.
because when it first started, I remember, people would say, "Well, bring it on over. We'll just run through the system, and we'll figure out what's wrong with it." And they did that for free. They don't do it for free anymore because, well, you run them through it. How much does it cost to make sure you have a computer that's got all the necessary information in it to help you look and find out what's wrong with the car that you're working on?
Well, and like Joe said, it's not just looking up the code and saying,
Mhm.
"Oh, it's got a P306." Well,
Mhm.
what does that mean? And what is the likely chances that it's this? What is it? What is it this? When we look something up, it gives us an idea where to look. And then we go down, like he said, a flow chart or a list, or we use our past experience and past knowledge from working on things to figure out what's wrong with cars. It's not as simple as going to AutoZone and just getting a code and them telling you your catalytic converter's bad or your oxygen sensor's bad.
Well, a lot of those places, they'll do that, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a most likely, and you can look it up. We can look that
we
up
see
too.
it. Mm-hmm.
And it's a most likely 70% of the time, this is what the part failure is.
Mm-hmm.
But you know as well as I do, when it's an O2 code,
Mm-hmm.
90% of the
It's
time,
not an
it ain't the
oxygen
O2 sensor. So, it's not a good, in my opinion, if you're not in the repair business, you don't need to be working on your vehicle, and you don't need to have somebody that sells parts to tell you what part you need to buy to fix that.
No, that's 100% accurate. Especially with these modern cars being just so technologically different than they were even a decade ago, 5 years ago.
Mhm.
Things have changed a lot in the past 10 years, and it's hard. It really is hard. I tell people this all the time. Me and my mechanics talk about it. About 2 out of 10 cars come in the shop and are easy, throw the parts on it like we think they need, send them out the door. 8 out of 10 of those cars, something goes wrong in the process. Something is not right. There's a wiring issue. There's a fuel issue. There's an air issue. There's a sensor issue that you can't find just by looking at the codes. You have to dig.
A lot of that, just what you just said is, it is what it is, but sometimes it's not, because we get codes for cars and somebody else has worked on them, and cars have personalities too.
Absolutely.
They have what you would call common issues and breakdowns and failures in certain areas. But in today's world, the more complex they become, you have more than one computer talking to each other. They're on a data communication line.
Mm-hmm.
And if one of them has an issue, it turns the lights on for the other 2 or 3, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
So when you bring it in for a light, we're like, well, what light did this? And then you got the cause and effect.
yeah.
What caused this? You got to fix the cause, because the effects fix that. It's not going to work.
Well, we had one just come in. One of those modules shorted out, and they're all basically, in a very simple term, daisy chained together.
Yep.
All the computers, and I'm talking about a 2022 model Chevrolet pickup, and it's got 20 odd computers on it, and they all talk to each other. And if one shorts out, or in this case, it was a sensor shorted out, which shorted the computer out, which killed the entire network. Truck would not go out of drive. Nothing wrong with the transmission.
No,
Nothing wrong with the transmission control module.
Yep.
But the transmission could not talk to the engine, which wouldn't let it go out of park. It wouldn't go into drive.
Yeah.
And it took us a week to track down which part of the harness is messed up, and then where is it messed up here, and then where is it messed up here. It was just a nightmare. And that's just what you get these days. And that's why it's so expensive to work on cars sometimes,
It is. I mean, it's time consuming. And, like we talk a lot of times, if you have an issue with your car, when you come in, if we ask questions, don't sugarcoat the story, because the harder you make it for us to find the problem, the more it's going to cost you. If you come in and say, well, that only happens when in the morning when I first get in it and I take off and I've gone like 2 blocks leaving my house, that's when I hear that popping noise. But give us that information so we can duplicate that. And don't make our job harder diagnosing it, because the longer it takes, the more it costs, right?
The more you tell me, usually the better it is for me to find an issue.
Yep.
And unless it's some obscure wiring problem that nobody could have found without just happy coincidence. But like, if you bring your car in for a tune-up, let's say, and you don't tell your mechanic it's been sitting for the last 2 years with bad fuel in it, and then I do a tune up and it's still running bad, expect me to, you're going to have to pay for me to fix whatever else is going on. Which most people are fine with, but just tell me that way I can check, is the fuel bad?
Or if you've worked on the car yourself and you don't want to admit that you weren't able to fix it, tell them that you worked on your car,
Or
because
if you
may have caused bigger problems.
Well, and don't tear it apart if you don't know if you can put it back together, because I
That's
hate
fact.
having cars show up in boxes.
Nobody likes that.
Nobody likes that. You're going to pay me twice what it's worth, because I'm going to have to figure it all out and put it back together. But I've done
Sometimes
it.
you have to put it back together
Mhm.
to get back to the original problem.
Oh yeah, because then I put it back together. Oh, it's still got the issue. The part you put on it didn't fix it. If I love people that are mechanically inclined. If you can work on your car, I want you to be able to work on your car as much as you
Sure.
can. Everybody should be self-sufficient in some way, but also if it's something over your head, just call one of us. We're happy to help. We love to help. That's why we do this.
Yeah, well, I don't, I haven't pulled my timing light out of the box in a long, long time.
I fear you never will.
Yeah, probably won't ever put it out again. But I've got all the tools that I used to use back in the 80s.
Yeah.
That are still in the box. Well, guess what? You don't use those tools any longer to fix a car.
No. Timing lights are history, because you don't even have a plug wire to clip them on anymore. You got a coil pack and just not gonna function for you. And if you had it, there's not a timing mark on the balancer.
There's no. Hell, you can't even see the balancer most of the
That's what
time.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're completely covered up.
You-
We have one timing light. It's in a case, and like an army green camouflage case, and it's just sitting on a shelf.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the last time it was open, but I keep it in that case because it's watertight and I won't lose it.
Yeah, and it'd be worth something because it's so old later on.
We got to the point every time we needed one, we had to go buy one because we couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Because it would be a year between needing
We
it.
loaned it to somebody,
We
and
loaned it
they,
to somebody.
and they didn't bring it back.
One of
right
the
away.
mechanics borrowed it, took it home. He doesn't work for me anymore.
Yeah, it's one of them stories. I know.
Yeah. O'Reilly's car, or not O'Reilly's, bumper to bumper, call up or give me another timing line. Give me another timing line. Over and over and over again.
They have
Finally,
to order it because they usually don't stock
they
them
don't
anymore.
keep them in stock. No offense to them. They shouldn't keep it in stock. Nobody needs them anymore.
Nobody uses them. That's exactly right. And if you, as a DIY, do-it-yourselfer, you have to go out and buy every one of those specific tools
Mm-hmm.
that the manufacturer uses to do something. Don't do that. I mean, take it over to a bumper-to-bumper certified service center. They've already got all these tools. They don't go out and buy those tools every time a car comes in with that problem.
My favorite is, a lot of European cars have gone to just using E-Torx bolts
Mhm.
and triple square.
Yeah.
Nobody has those.
Yeah.
Normal people don't have E-Torx and triple square sockets.
So why don't you explain what that is? Because I don't even know what you're talking
a
about now.
Torx headed bolt is? Like it has like 6 splines that you stick it into it.
Yeah.
It's the inverse of that. So the bolt actually has 6 splines on it, and the socket has 6 little curved splines inside. A normal socket won't fit on it; it'll just spin.
Okay.
And then a triple square is like an Allen, but it's 12 point, and it's shaped a very specific way. Normal people don't know they exist.
Yeah.
And I have to have everybody, every mechanic has to have a set now because you don't know when you're going to run into it.
Well,
It's funny.
and you talk about the tools and stuff like that. As far as DIY guys, I'm going to tell you, how many times have we seen it where they've tried to do stuff and they've broke bolts off, they've rounded bolts off, they've cracked stuff, didn't get it lined back up. And, we live in a world today where, just like we were talking about the timing light, how about the timing marks on some chains? You got an engine with 3 chains in them, okay? There's not a mark on them nowhere. There's not a mark on the pulley. You have to have holding fixtures in there, and the cams have to be blocked down. The crank's got to be in the right spot before the bolts are tightened up on the pulleys, because there's no keyways on the pulleys.
Yep. I know. What was that?
The average guy can't figure that out.
No, you have to have a very
not gonna have it
specific
set back.
set, and then you have to have
That's
a very
it.
specific set of instructions,
That's it.
and then you have to have a very specific set of information and knowledge
And
to
the
just
tools.
apply all of that information and tools.
Mhm.
Which if you don't work on this stuff full time, you don't have that knowledge.
That's
I mean,
right.
it's nothing against you. You just some of this stuff is just ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, changing oil is not as easy as it used to be. I mean,
No.
it's just not pulling the plug out and draining it and putting plug back in and refilling it. There's a lot more to it now.
That you need special tools sometimes just to get the oil filter off.
They're not spin-ons. A lot of them are not spin-ons anymore. They're cartridge style.
Cartridges. Yeah. You got to have a special little socket the size of the palm of your hand just to slip over that cartridge to keep from breaking it.
And every manufacturer has their own.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, we couldn't simplify that. And some of them have weird little cutouts and divots on them for specific spots, so you can't use just a cheap aftermarket one.
Yeah,
which it's fine. I own them all, and so do you.
Yeah.
But most people don't.
No.
Yeah, which means you spend your money and you got to get your money back for that part somehow.
Oh yeah, and that's a whole other thing about, people always talk about how there's such a big mechanic shortage. I mean, I pay my mechanics good. I know you do too. I know you and Stephanie take care of your guys, but a mechanic is spending, let's say, $50 to $100 a week on his tools.
Most likely.
His or her tools. More than likely.
Between the toolbox and keeping the tools upgraded.
Yep.
Yes, I'm going to say you're probably right.
I have been spending at least $50 a week since probably 2019, 2018.
Yep.
Without failure. And it's not going to change. I still owe money, even though I don't wrench as much as I used to, because we finally hired a good set of people that I don't have to work as much as I used to in the shop. I do more office stuff, but you have to continuously buy tools. So everybody that works on cars, they're constantly spending their money just to work on your car.
They still have the Snap-on guy that travels around.
Oh yeah.
Got Snap-on, Mac, Matco.
Just a couple other odds and ends.
Yeah.
What's that other one?
Cornwall.
Yeah. But
we got them all.
Okay.
They all run around. They all have their days. They all want their money. Some of them are good. Some of them are bad. But they're all going to get your money some way or the other.
And you better have those tools if you're going to work on your car, or instead of do it yourself, it's going to be what Kenneth always says, and destroy it yourself.
Yeah.
Most people destroy it themselves. They really do.
You got to keep that in mind. All right, final break for this hour. We've got bumper to bumper here. If you have a question about your particular car, you can call in right now, 501 401 1011. I'm still not used to saying that number, but 1011, it's the dial position, is now in our phone number here on the Dave Elswick Show.
Want your pets to live longer, healthier lives? Tune in to Pets Who Thrive Radio with Tammy King. Tune in for honest conversations that will help your furry family thrive. Sundays at 2 p.m. on 101.1 FM, The Answer.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it. And it's just hard on both of us. But try to understand me more. And I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
The news never stops, and neither does your schedule. That's why we're here, keeping you up to date with all the biggest stories of the day. We're 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. The Car and Truck Doctor Show is back, sponsored by Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts. Now, here's Dave Elswick on 101.1, The Answer.
Back with you here in the studios of the Dave Elswick Show. Good to have you along for the ride, trying to pass out some good information to you to avoid costing you more money than what you should pay to get your car fixed. The best way to get your car fixed at the cost that is, I think, a reasonable cost is to take it to a facility like a bumper to bumper certified service center and let them work on it, because they do what Joe alluded to in the first half hour of the show. They don't want to just work on your car; they want to fix your car, and not every place that you go has that type of philosophy.
Well, we've been doing this for so long that, in my opinion, it's the only philosophy to have. We don't want to work on your car or truck. We want to fix it.
Yeah. I want to get you out there going down the road so I
Yeah.
can get the next person in.
Sure. And, and don't get us wrong. We don't make the parts we put on. Bumper to Bumper supplies them, but, they don't make a lot of these parts either. Come from individual vendors, and
nobody's perfect.
That's it. And you're going to have part failures. That's why a new car has a warranty on it too, because they know that too.
And every job we do for you, as long as we supply the parts and the labor, has a warranty too.
Absolutely. Nationwide, 2 years, 24,000 miles.
Yeah, I give a story that I'm in the midst of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I had on my dash, it flashed up that I was low pressure on one of my tires.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by the time I got home and hooked up my pump that I have for my car and putting the air in, it was not only telling me that, but it took the pressure completely off of the information part of my dash, and said, "You have a problem with your system."
Yeah.
And it was kind of late in the afternoon, so going over the ducks was out of the question, or Joe's was out of the question. So I took it to a reputable firm,
independent.
It's independent person taking care of it, and my car was telling me it was the right front tire. Their computer told them it was the left front tire. So they went with their computer and they changed it. Well, the light went out, but while I was driving home, the light came back on and it said the right front, pressure sensor was failing.
Yeah.
And I called them and they said, "Well, just bring it on over and we'll take care of it." Well, I did that and they fixed it. All right. I guess they took the one that they were going to put on the left and put it on the right or something. And because driving into work today, the right front is screwing up again. So I've got to go back in, and and we've talked about this many a time. Always give the people who are working on your car the ability to correct whatever mistake has happened. And I do that. And so this is the second time. They won't get a third time. All right. If they don't get it right this time, then it's like, I'll make an appointment after I get back from Florida and have Joe's garage take care of it.
Well, you'd be surprised, Dave. I'll do work on a customer's car, $2,000 worth of work. 8 months will go by, and then they'll call me and say, "Ever since you did that work, I've had an oil leak." And I mean, it might be related to what I did. And I'm like, "Why didn't you? You should have called me."
Yeah.
When did you notice the oil leak? Oh, well, the week after you fixed it.
Yeah.
Well, call me. I don't want you to, I know people get busy, but I don't want you to be upset with me because I didn't fix the issue. But if you don't tell me about the issue, I can't do anything about it.
It's a fact. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
No news is good news in our world.
Yes, absolutely. Especially with some customers that like you were talking about with the minivan earlier.
Yeah.
That seem like they get towed in every other month. But you were talking about the tires, and that's going to be a big thing over the next probably month and a half. Is people's tire lights are going to come on when we get a good cold spell comes through here at the end of September.
Oh, it leaks air big time.
Oh, your tire?
It doesn't. If the temperature is fluctuating, the tire pressure goes up and down accordingly.
Well, they have, like, modern cars are set to tire pressure should be 40 pounds, but at 36, 37, that's when the light comes on, and that's enough that from a 100-degree day to a 50-degree day.
Yeah,
that's 4 pounds of pressure right there, just in the temperature difference in the air. So if your light comes on, your tire's a little bit low, run it by one of us, and we'll be happy to air it up for you, especially if you're a regular customer. Yeah, I mean, if anybody comes by right now and they say, "Hey, my tire's a little low," I'll put some air in it. I won't patch it. I don't do tires. I'll send you to Joe. But I'm happy to help anybody with just a little bit of air. That's not a big deal.
Well, in today's world too, you talk about the tire lights. a lot of places, even if the owner what you would call rotates his tires, or he has them rotated somewhere and they don't relearn it, you can have a light come on. And if the sensors aren't relearned when they're moved from the location they're at, if it says right front tire is low, and you need to pull that up on your screen while it's being aired up.
Yeah, and watch it.
Because you may be airing up the right rear.
That's right.
Because it's moved, you see? And so you're airing up the wrong one. And so that's just little things that people need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I mean, and some manufacturers, like my Dodge, if I rotate the tires, it knows. When I go off down the road, it's got some kind of directional ability in the computer to tell where the tires went. But GM doesn't. You know, GM, you have to relearn it every time you rotate the tires. And then in diesels, you know, the rear tires are aired up more than the front tires. So when you swap them, you have to let the air out of the front and add more air to the rear. And people don't do this stuff, especially when they're doing it at home on their own.
Yeah, well, how much, you know, it's important to have the right amount of pressure in your tires because it will cause a lack of gas mileage and all kinds of things.
It'll affect fuel economy. You know, and it's funny is I actually did a study on this when I was in college. It'll affect fuel economy and it'll affect how long your tires last. It'll affect your suspension components because of the way the tires are wearing. It's a very, keeping your tires properly inflated is more than just keeping the light off your dash.
Yeah, going back and talking about the old minivan that I had, I remember I went in and had my tires rotated. Now I've come up with a system now. I rotate my tires every other oil change.
That's correct.
That's what I do too.
To do that. And, but I needed to rotate it. Well, Joe's folks rotated it. I got in my car. I'm driving down the highway, get on the expressway, and all of a sudden I feel like the steering wheel is going to jump out of my hands, and didn't know what was going on. Well, there were parts in the front that were not, or in the back that were not up to snuff.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and the inside of the tires had all cupped. I'm going back. I don't even know if Joe remembers this or not.
Yeah, but that's a common thing. We see it all the time. Rotate your tires, and all of a sudden, a little bitty vibration you could barely feel in the rear is now in the front, and you can feel it in your steering wheel.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, we see that all the time.
So I took it back, and they took a look at it and said, well, you need 2 new tires, and you need this and this to fix up the front part of the car.
You know, suspension parts, they do a lot of moving more than what a lot of people think, you know.
They have a lifespan.
And, you know, just like tires got a lifespan too. If they get too old, they can age out. You see that a lot with campers and motorhomes and stuff like that. And well, it's got plenty of tread on. Just because it's got tread on doesn't mean it's any good.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so got to keep that in mind. Look at the date on them tires. They're over 5 years old. You need to get rid of them.
Especially on a motorhome or a camper. I would say 3 years on a motorhome or a camper.
I know that's not the cheapest.
No, especially not on a big motorhome.
Solving of a problem, but it is one that you don't want to become a major problem, like you end up rolling off the side of the highway or something.
Well, a tire blowing out and tearing up the suspension or other things underneath your motorhome or your camper.
Yep.
All right. Joe, where are you located at?
5601 Crystal Hill Road, North Little Rock, Arkansas.
What's that phone number, Joe?
501-753-4685.
I tell you, he's done it enough that he's got it down, Blake.
Call me. I'm at Duck's Garage in Benton, Arkansas, 1511 Airlane Drive. Phone number is 501-778-2886. If you wait about an hour, I'll be there.
All right. Thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you, Dave.
When we come back, we'll be talking about the what we've got going on in the United States as far as our economy. That's coming up with David Fisher here on the Dave Elswick Show.
News breaks fast. We we break it down faster. 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. KDXE, Kamak Village, Little Rock.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. Amit Thomason. One eyewitness says they never had a chance. People scrambled to escape a towering wall of water, mud, and debris. It came roaring down the mountainsides of Nepal and neighboring Tibet, sweeping away everything and everyone in its path.
Over 1,000 people have been left missing on the Nepal-China border after a series of floods caused by a glacier collapse swept through the area. Rescue teams in Nepal are scrambling after a catastrophic and deadly torrent of floods and mud swept through several communities, leaving hundreds of people dead. More than 1,300 remain missing, including foreigners and pilgrims. Hundreds of residents across the Himalayan region were displaced. Videos of the tragedy showed the flood swallowing up people as they tried to escape. Drone footage from Nepal on Thursday showed the scale of the destruction. I'm Karen Shamas.
An ICE officer charged with shooting a man in Minneapolis and then lying about it has been released from a Texas jail. This after Minnesota's demand for the agent's immediate extradition was rejected by a judge. A new weapon to be deployed in the fight against pancreatic cancer.
It's called daraxonrasib with the brand name Rasanq. The daily pills block a mutated protein that fuels tumor growth in more than 90% of pancreatic cancer cases. Patients who got the new treatment live for a median of 13.2 months, compared with 6.7 months for people on chemotherapy. One oncologist says this is not a cure, but it's the best option they've ever had. Pancreatic cancer is among the most deadly forms because it is hard to detect before it starts spreading to other organs. Earlier this year, former Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse described on CBS's 60 Minutes how he had less pain while taking daraxonrasib. Ed Donahue, Washington.
The Dow futures down 120 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What is dedication?
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is Dariana. We call him Day for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's attention, affection, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. The craziest thing was believing that your dad knew everything. So as a dad, you felt like you had to know everything. You had to get everything right. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, then, it kind of starts to work itself out. I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
With your news flash, I'm Trey Westerberg, 101.1 The Answer. Receive your dental implants and new smile in as little as 1 day with Little Rock's dental implant specialist, Dr. Samuel F. Jurek, DDS. Schedule your consultation now at jurekdds.com. The FDA has approved a groundbreaking new drug for advanced pancreatic cancer, offering patients a new treatment option. The daily pill, daraxonrasib, targets a mutated protein that drives tumor growth in more than 90% of pancreatic cancer cases. Arkansas State Police say 8 missing children were found during a 4-day multi-agency operation. Operation Hope focused on 10 missing or endangered children, with 2 still missing as authorities continue searching. Officials say the cases included foster children and alleged abduction and possible human trafficking. Meta has agreed to pay up to $18 billion in strengthened child safety measures on Facebook and Instagram. The landmark settlement resolves a trial and claims brought by nearly every state over teen social media addiction. If approved, the deal will fund children's mental health programs and add protections like default time limits and disabling like counts. I'm Trey Westerberg with your news flash on 101.1 The Answer.
With your sports flash, I'm John Thayer on 101.1 The Answer. Preseason NFL action tomorrow night. The Kansas City Chiefs are at home. They'll take on the Seahawks. Both teams 0-2 in the preseason. Dallas looks to go 3-0. They'll host the Saints tomorrow night. Central Arkansas set to open up its football season tonight in Tennessee. The Bears will take on UT Martin to kick off a new season. Kansas City Royals saw their 9-game win streak come to an end yesterday in Toronto. They fell to the Blue Jays 3-0. Randy Dobnak took the loss. He's now 2-2. The St. Louis Cardinals yesterday fell at home. They lost to the Orioles 8-7. The two teams combined for 24 hits. Cardinals are 66-68. Northside Power, your trusted name when the power goes out. Generators isn't something they do, it's all they do. Find out more at northsidepower.com. I'm John Thayer with your Sports Flash on 101.1 The Answer.
Scott Jennings fearlessly fights back against the mainstream media on the Scott Jennings podcast.
So the Democratic message for the 2026 midterm is, we don't love America. That's it. The message from the left is, as long as people that we don't like are allowed to win elections, we hate America. That's a heck of a thing to be running an election on. We hate America.
Subscribe for free today on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
All right, into the last hour of a Thursday edition of the Dave Elswick Show here at 101.1 The Answer. And on Thursdays at just about 8:05, we welcome David Fisher here to the Dave Elswick Show. And he's going to talk to you about, where we are as far as the economy goes and, what the Treasury Secretary is doing, what the president's thinking about doing, and things of that nature. And we're going to get into that in just a second. I need to remind you that we're in the Lucas Total Wealth Studios. You want to schedule your total wealth evaluation today so that you can thrive in retirement at totalwealth.com. All right, so let's welcome David to the show here on the Dave Elswick Show. David, last week, the Treasury Secretary said there were some things that he was going to do to try to make the economy better. Well, did he try them, and how did it turn out?
So what the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent did was a reaction to what was going on into the currency markets, but more importantly, the U.S. Treasury market. So let's tell the backstory really quick. So we've been talking about this on your program, Dave, about Japan might need to sell off a whole bunch of U.S. Treasuries.
Right.
And the fear was from the Treasury, and analysts were saying this, there might be this massive sell-off in U.S. Treasuries because longer-term, 30-year dated Treasuries aren't paying enough for the investor to hold it. They're not making money. In fact, in some cases, they're losing money. So no central bank wants to lose money in the safest asset known to be to man, called the U.S. Treasury. Of course, gold now supersedes that because gold is now held more by central banks than U.S. Treasuries for the first time since the 70s. So that being the backstory, there was getting ready to be this either a controlled sell-off, which is what Bessent wanted to do, or if he didn't intervene, there would have been this massive liquidation happening that was uncontrollable and would have caused a domino effect. So in lieu of that, Treasury Secretary made an announcement that they're going to double the liquidity availability at the Treasury market, at the Treasury, so that dealers and companies and central banks that hold these, what we call older Treasuries, which are what they're saying is inefficient, which means they're losing money. And the Treasury is willing to buy it from them. So they provided a easy liquidation path to get liquid out of a losing investment. So that's what the announcement was. Obviously, this didn't go well, and we can get into that. How the markets reacted is really simple. The Dow and the S&P went up 0.3%. The NASDAQ went down 0.3%. And gold rallied 4.35% in that one day. And silver did even more, 5.83%. And this was all because of lack of liquidity. So what it did is they wanted to stop the snowball effect, the more sellers happening, causing more liquidations, causing the value of the treasuries to go down, causing more liquidations, just a snowball effect. So, but basically, they just put a floor under the market of the longer dated treasury market. This is an intervention. And so, but it only lasted for a day or so because yields went right back up to where they were before.
So the bottom line is that the federal government was trying to forestall what happened to Japan, where their bond market started collapsing. We don't want that to happen because that means, other country could start, calling in our debt and things of that nature. So where do we sit now after trying it and we see that it's not going to work? So what is it that we do now?
Well, we're going to make sure we understand what's getting ready to happen next. So Japan did the same thing we did, Dave, in 2012. What we just did, Japan has already done. And here's what happened to their currency. Well, first of all, what was going on in Japan? The bond market, Japanese bond market, was becoming illiquid, and they were trying to sell a lot of longer dated Japanese bonds, and investors were losing money. It's the exact same thing. So Japan put a floor under it. They put a program into called a liquidity enhancement auction, which is just a fancy term for basically intervening the government intervening in a market they have no business intervening in. Just let's have free markets. Well, Japan didn't do that. We're not doing that. But here's what happened in Japan. When they did it, their currency dropped 31% in 3 years. That's an average of 10% a year. Let's put this into perspective. Of course, gold rallied in Japan like insane. But let's put this into perspective. Last year, as I said on your program, the dollar fell 9.5%. Just call it 10%. Gold went up 68%. Silver went up 120%. Am I saying this next year we're going to have this big rally in gold and silver? I don't know about those numbers, but all the analysts are saying there's a massive rally going on in gold and silver now because of the intervention of what the United States did. And where we're headed is the key. All the analysts I am reading, and I'm reading a ton of them, nobody is saying this is a good deal. Everybody's throwing mud at it. And it's not that they don't like the administration. It has nothing to do with that. This is not a political thing. Here's what some people are saying, like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, all the big boys on Wall Street. Goldman Sachs says the real drivers of long-term yields and structural government spending pressures have not been addressed. This is not even a temporary fix. JP Morgan says they're shifting the debt problem into the future. Joel Griffith says it's worse than a Band-Aid. Here's another person, Mohammed El Iran, the Treasury, said the Treasury bond buyback is worse than a Band-Aid. It's not a fix to the $40 trillion debt problem. So we passed $40 trillion while this was happening. And others are saying they're not paying down the debt. They're not addressing the problem. They're just trying to put a smoke and mirrors on it. And obviously this is not good because all of them are pretty much saying the same thing. And Graham Summers summarizes this by saying this, and he's a really smart newsletter guy. He's a stock guy. And he says, the message is clear. They're going to debase our currency. They won't let the bonds break. When policymakers are forced to choose between defending their treasury bonds and defending the dollar, they will always choose the bond market or the treasury market. So a disorderly move in yields won't threaten the whole entire financial system. We will have a weaker dollar. That is just an inconvenience. So this is why gold is rallying and silver is rallying, because when you have weaker dollars, you have higher prices in gold and silver.
All right. So the future for gold and silver looks bright. For how long, we don't know. But if they keep doing what they're doing, you're going to probably get the same result, correct?
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with our debt and the confidence of the world not buying our debt anymore. It took 200 years, Dave. Here's a fact for your listeners. It took 200 years for the national debt to hit our first $1 trillion. This last $1 trillion to hit 40 trillion only took 9 months. So think about that. We're going at exponential pace. We're doing it less than a year when it took 200 years to do the first time. So countries see this, and mathematically, we just can't get out of debt. And there's a guy by the name of Michael Harnett. He's the chief guy at Bank of America. And he said last week on his show called The Flow Show, he says, go long on gold. The trade now for gold is in. He says escalating structural deficits, surging national debt burdens, and ongoing macroeconomic uncertainty will drive gold much higher, and also silver. And then there's another, Goldman Sachs is saying, get ready, gold is now going to accelerate. Clients are seeing $90 silver, and Goldman Sachs is calling for $5,400 gold by the end of the year. That's about $1,000 higher than we are right now. And silver is at $68, so they're projecting as much as $90 to $100. So, and there's another guy by the name of Jeff Curry. He's a commodity expert. He's saying, wake up, folks. Commodities are telling us something yesterday, and the Treasury confirmed it. And I think the last quote of all tells the whole story, because Ray Dalio, a very smart guy who studies history, a billionaire, the largest hedge fund manager in the world, he is saying Americans don't understand the significance of what just happened, but this confirms we are headed for financial calamity. And he said Americans just do not have near enough gold for what is getting ready to happen in a devaluation of the currency. So this is the analysts. These guys don't own gold companies, but this is what's going on. Call my company, learn about that. No obligation, but should be rolling over portions of 401k IRA money into physical gold and silver with no tax liability. And we help you do that because this is a massive bull market going on in gold and silver now.
And that phone number to call is 844-604-2575. Again, 844-604-2575, or go visit them online at Landmark Gold. That is one word, landmarkgold.com. Let's get a quick break in, and we'll come back and we'll finish up our conversation with David here on the Dave Elswick Show.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
Near the end of the Revolutionary War, George Washington received a letter from one of his own officers. Colonel Lewis Nicola suggested that America might be better served by a monarchy, with Washington himself as king. Washington firmly rejected the idea. He had spent years leading Americans in a fight for independence from a monarchy. He would not see that victory end with America creating a king of its own. He understood that the cause of the revolution was greater than any one man. His example reminds us that power can be offered, earned, or taken. But character determines whether we use it for ourselves or remain faithful to something greater.
Whether retirement's just around the corner or already here, it's common to be overwhelmed. That's where Total Wealth with David Lucas can help. Utilizing their signature Thrive planning process, they'll work together with you to identify and resolve your concerns, allowing you to fully pursue your passions and enjoy life. Because a successful retirement isn't just how much you save, it's the quality of life you live. Schedule a free evaluation now at TotalWealth.com. While you're at the website, download the free guide to Social Security. It'll help answer a lot of your questions. Go to TotalWealth.com or call 501-382-8800. 501-382-8800. One more time, go to totalwealth.com or call 501-382-8800. That's 501-382-8800. 501-382-8800. Go to totalwealth.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Lucas Total Wealth, an Arkansas registered investment advisor. Arkansas Insurance License number 161527443.
America is at a tipping point. To ensure we stay the land of the free and home of the brave, you need to be informed and engaged. That's why we're here. 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Dave Elswick is the conservative voice of Arkansas, and he's back. 101.1 The Answer.
All right. So when you go and call David and his company to move some of your assets into gold and into silver, you want to call 844-604-2575. Let me give the number to you one more time. 844-604-2575, or go to landmarkgold.com. And while you have them on the phone, ask them about their 2 free white papers that they have for you so that you can understand better what's going on in the markets and in our economy. There's the golden era that has a silver lining, and the other is BRICS. And you've heard us talk about BRICS several times. If you want to dive a little bit deeper into that and understand what that means, they got a white paper called BRICS, the new financial system that could dethrone the U.S. dollar as the global reserve. And we don't want that to happen. Then finally, David, let me ask you, what's being said about gold and silver? Are they saying, the more gold and silver that you can round up in monies that you have ready to buy other things, that's the way to go?
So there's a lot of analysts recommending gold and silver now that are in a bull market. And I'm not talking analysts in my industry. I'm talking just analysts as a whole. I mentioned one, Michael Harnett, Bank of America strategist. He's a stock guy. He also said this, that he wrote a research paper called Anything But Bonds. So in other words, he's saying, whatever you do, don't put your money in bonds, treasuries right now. And ironically, that's one of their products that they sell. So he's sounding the fire alarm in the treasury market, saying that's not something you want to be involved in. And he goes on and says there's just too much debt. And their counterpart, Morgan Stanley, said we are either going to have a break or a break. In other words, BRAKE. The brakes are going to go on the economy if they can't get enough stimulus going on through creating more debt, or we need to, if we don't get stimulus going on, the economy is going to break, BREAK. So the government, he's coming out and saying the government is relying, or the economy is relying on government stimulus. And that's a scary thing, especially when you're upside down in your spending habits. And we're running what Goldman Sachs calls the doom loop, where we keep on refinancing our debt, our budget deficit of $2 trillion now that's growing with more debt. So this is what the message is, loud and clear. And when countries do this, gold and silver is something you're going to want to have in your portfolio. I'll end it by saying this. You have health insurance in case you get sick. You have car insurance in case you get in a wreck. You have life insurance when we all will pass away. That's all going to happen. You have homeowners insurance just in case something happens in your home. But your biggest asset is your wealth besides your life. So why wouldn't you want to have some insurance on that? And that's what gold and silver does. What I'm not saying is the currency is not going to zero. What I am saying, the currency now clearly is going to be massively, devalued. And that's the end game, what we're going to face. And that's why Ray Dalio is saying is Americans just don't have enough gold. So call and learn about gold and silver, and we can help you understand it.
All right. So here is your number to get a hold of the Landmark Gold. 844-604-2575. That's 844-604-2575. Or just visit them at their website, landmarkgold.com. Forewarned is, basically, you're being told that bad things could happen. You'd be best to be on the side that they have as little effect as possible on your nest egg. David, I appreciate your time. I'm taking a couple of weeks off over the next 2 weeks, and we'll be in touch with you and talk about what we'll be doing on Thursdays for the next 2 weeks. But thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Enjoy your vacation, Dave.
I intend to. All right, David, of course, you want to get in touch with his people and make sure that you've got yourself as, well protected as you can. 8:25, we got to get a break in here. Okay, we got a couple of minutes. We got to let's pay some bills. We'll do that. We'll come and for the next, 35, 40 minutes, let's look at what's going on. All right, a break and more coming your way here on the Dave Elswick Show. Oh, okay, we got 4 minutes to the bottom of the hour. Okay, so I'm going to the bottom of the hour. All right, so let's turn our attention to other news that's happening right now, so that you can prepare yourself. You want to be able to prepare yourself and make sure that you don't end up finding yourself on the short end of the stick. Well, the Trump administration is honoring the heroes of Abbeygate. That happened 5 years ago. It's already been 5 years. It's amazing how fast time does move. But these were the soldiers, airmen, that were killed over during the dumping that we did in Afghanistan, getting out of the Afghanistan war. The Biden administration had understood that the American people wanted to get out. I don't think that we wanted to get out the way we got out. He just kind of pulled the plug on everything. He gave an air base away. He gave away, billions and billions of dollars in equipment. And during that time, we had servicemen and women killed over in Afghanistan. And that botched withdrawal of Afghanistan could have been much worse were it not for the heroic fighting of America's finest. Yesterday marked, again, the 5 years since the attack occurred. Donald Trump said this: we honor the 13 brave Americans, heroes who were tragically killed 5 years ago by evil jihadi terrorists in Kabul, Afghanistan. This catastrophe was a result of sleepy Joe Biden totally botched withdrawal from the country, which left our wonderful servicemen and women defenseless and allowed the Taliban to free thousands of bloodthirsty terrorists and criminals held at Bagram prison. We'll get back and talk more about this here in just a few moments. Let me talk about what's going to happen next week and the week after. I'm going to be out of the studio. I'm going on vacation. I'm going to be down in Florida, in Panama City. That's where I go. We're going a little bit earlier this year than we've done in the past. Normally, I go a week after Labor Day. That way, most of the young people have left the area. But we're going to have we're going a week early this year, which means that we're going to have to put up with first week being the final partying that's going on there in Panama City. But let's get to the news. We'll find out what's going on when we get back. We'll talk more about these American soldiers and sailors and people serving their country who gave up their lives as we left Afghanistan. News is next.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Still photos and video from the scene almost defy description. A towering wall of water, a mountain of mud and debris, engulfing communities along the Nepal-China border, swallowing up people and property in a flash. The death toll, at least 353. 25 years after the 9/11 attacks, a military judge has set a trial date for alleged terrorist mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. The trial set to begin June 5th of 2028. That's 18 months later than the start that prosecutors had been asking for. Closing arguments set to begin in the murder trial of Lindsay Clancy, the Massachusetts mother, accused of strangling her 3 young children several years ago. She has entered a not guilty plea. On Wall Street, the opening bell is sounding. Stocks starting off the day mixed. More details, srnnews.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at 2 different options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-936-5496.
We bring you the biggest news stories of the day. Not to tell you what to think, but to allow you to have the most information so you can make up your mind. 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk.
Every family deserves a place to call home. In Saline County, Habitat for Humanity is making that happen. One house, one family, one hammer at a time. We're not just building homes, we're building hope, stability, and a stronger community for everyone. And you can be a part of it. Volunteer, donate, or shop the Habitat Restore for great deals that fund our mission. Habitat for Humanity of Saline County. Building homes, building hope. Mention The Answer and receive a 25% discount at the Benton or Bryant Restore.
This is 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Start your morning with a voice you know and trust. Dave Elswick, bringing you the issues that matter to Arkansas, the news behind the headlines, and conversations you won't hear anywhere else. Then in the afternoon, stay informed and fired up with Doc Washburn, breaking down the biggest stories of the day and what they mean for you. And all day long, hear from some of the biggest voices in talk radio. CNN's Scott Jennings, Mike Gallagher, and Larry Elder, bringing you sharp insight, lively debate, and the perspective you've been looking for. News, opinion, insight, and the conversations shaping our community. From Little Rock to the natural state and beyond. This is 101.1, The Answer. 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. If things don't change, can you imagine America in 20 years? Scary thought, isn't it? The good news is we have the power to take our nation back. Stay right here for all the information you need. 101.1, The Answer. Now, back to the Dave Elswick Show. 101.1, The Answer.
All right, back with you here on the Dave Elswick Show. Yesterday, a sad day when we talked about the passing of Dolly Parton. That came out early yesterday for all of us to try to process. Well, later in the afternoon, I wasn't on the air at the time, but I want to bring to your attention that Tim Curry passed away. A lot of people will remember Curry from playing in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. He'll go down as being remembered in that part. The other part that he played was in the TV adaptation of It that was released many moons ago, and Tim Curry played the clown inside that movie. So that's something, we lost a good one in him. I mean, he brought Frankenfurter to life on the big screen for the Rocky Horror Picture Show. If, by the way, if you've never been able to go to one of those screenings, please do, but read up on it before you show up, because you might want to bring an umbrella and a newspaper and some different things with you so that you can take part in the shenanigans that go on when that movie's shown. And that typically it's shown over at the Riverdale around Halloween. So, but as we get closer to it, I'll mention it to you. All right, back to the getting out of Afghanistan, the retreat that we did. And the president finished up his post on Truth social media, and he said, we can never forget that it was the result of the sheer incompetence of Joe Biden and the Democrats who were in charge. Secretary of State Rubio yesterday posted on his site, and he said, 5 years ago today, 13 brave American service members were taken from their families and their country by an Islamic terrorist in Kabul, Afghanistan. We will never forget them and never again allow our men and women in uniform to be so utterly betrayed. I don't know how long Americans will remember this particular piece of history. I mean, look, it doesn't. This feels like it just happened a couple of months ago. Doesn't feel like it was, 5 years ago. It doesn't feel like on the 11th of September we'll be, having Patriot Day, and it will be 25 years since 9/11. Let me say that again to you. It's been 25 years since 9/11. Thank God we haven't had a repeat of that. But it just shows you how long it does to bring justice. Sheikh Mohammed is finally, he's the guy that they feel was the mastermind. Bin Laden gave the orders about, follow what the Sheikh is doing. And they did, and they brought down the Twin Towers. They destroyed a part of a wing of the Pentagon, and then destroyed an airplane with all, survivors that were on board at that point were killed out in a field out in Pennsylvania. That was United Flight 93 that happened. And, a lot of people died. Nearly 3,000 people died because of that attack. It doesn't make sense to me, and I don't know how you feel about this, Val, but we're supposed to see Sheikh Mohammed to go on trial about his part, his complicity in 9/11. And it's been 25 years. He is supposed to face trial back in, years ago, just absolute years ago. 2003 is when he was supposed to face trial. But the the announcement comes just a couple of weeks now before the 25th anniversary of the most lethal foreign attack on U.S. soil in our nation's 250-year history. Think about that. It's been 25 years, and the guy who's, we're told, is the mastermind behind it hasn't even stood in front of a judge and jury yet. So the New York Post had a story about it, said the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks and 3 other terrorists held on Guantanamo Bay will finally stand trial, and that's not going to happen until 2028. So we're looking at another 2 years, according to a military judge. He set that date. The ruling from Lieutenant Colonel Michael Shirama came just 2 weeks before the 25th anniversary of 9/11. Of course, it was a world-altering attack. Killed nearly 3,000 people in that. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the head plotter, and 3 of his alleged co-conspirators have been held at the Cuba military base since 2003 in the long-delayed case. Government prosecutors requested a January 2027 date, but the judge rejected that bid and didn't say why, but they rejected that bid and set the next date for this trial as June 5th, 2028, citing a slew of pre-trial rulings the court needs to make before the proceedings start. Past trial dates have come and gone several times, and Shirama is the 5th judge to oversee the case. Victims' families have been outraged that they're yet to see justice being done, and I can only rightly agree with them that this man and his co-conspirators haven't been tried yet. Now, with some relatives telling the New York Post on Wednesday, they hope the latest trial date will stand. Quote, "We have been asking for a trial date for 20 years. Hopefully this time it is for real," said retired NYPD officer Jim Smith, whose wife, Maura Smith, died responding to the attacks. That's from a story in the New York Post. So much for a speedy trial, huh? I mean, the Constitution says, you are due a speedy and a jury of your peers to be tried for something. Here, the defense attorneys, and there's been many, have continued to push forward to make sure that these guys aren't being tried yet. We got to make sure, and the American public needs to be sure that they are going to stand and not stand for any more waiting for these guys to get their trial date taken care of. The government, by the way, provided updates on the inquiry into the Abbeygate failures. Sean Parnell, Assistant to the Secretary of War for Public Affairs, Chief Pentagon spokesman and senior advisor to SecWar. This is a group that I served with when I was active duty, is heading up a team of veterans who served in Afghanistan. Parnell used the 5th anniversary of the horrific incident to give an update. Here's what he had to say about Abbeygate. "I have the privilege of chairing a team with extensive military service in Afghanistan. These patriots commandeered troops. They took fire. They carried the wounded, and they buried their friends. They knew how decisions in Afghanistan became consequences because they are the ones who lived with them. We are conducting a thorough review of what took place in Afghanistan, and I'm going to be honest with you about what that's turning up. The deeper that we look, the more there is to look at. We are finding things that we did not expect. Recently, my team recovered highly relevant classified documents, material that should have been disclosed, stashed and hidden away in safes where they would not be found. And after the team reviewed these documents, it became clear why someone tried to hide them. I'm not going to give you a convenient version of the truth, nor will I give you a rushed one. Here is my commitment to you. We are following the evidence to whatever it leads and to whoever it touches. We're not accepting incomplete or comfortable answers. That came from Parnell and the Department of War. So this reminds me so much of the Kennedy assassination. You know, John F. Kennedy was killed in 1963. They were still studying what went wrong, that a sitting president was shot down in cold blood while he was riding in a car, in this case in Dallas, Texas. But they were having a major study about the study that the Warren Commission did. And not all the records still have been released. There's still things that went on during the JFK assassination that evidently people think we're not, we can't handle it. We can't deal with it. And I completely disagree with that. And I can say, as far as the JFK assassination, and then as far as what occurred on 9/11 and why it happened, how it happened, and all the rest, it's time for us to know all the truth about it. I mean, look, we know there's more to find out because these classified documents have been kept in safes that nobody else had, the combinations to. So we'd like to know what's in that as well. I mean, I smell CYAN pretty strong with this. And if you've not been in the military, you might not know what CYA stands for. It means covering a portion of your anatomy. Okay, that's what it is. It's so that if you had something to do with it, your name didn't get, put with it. So hopefully we'll be able to put both of these things together by 2028. Finally, the War Department has upgraded the military honors to the 5 who lost, or the 13 who lost their lives 5 years ago at Abbey Gate. After a review, the War Department says it was determined that the heroes were not adequately recognized, perhaps to diminish the magnitude of the calamitous position that the Biden administration had left them in. The task and purpose of this was that the Marine Corps has issued award upgrades to 7 Marines who provided Hamid Karzai International Airport's Abbey Gate in Kabul when a suicide bomber struck on August 26, 2021, killing 13 service members and about 170 Afghans. Defense officials announced this on Wednesday. War Secretary Hegseth says, "Today we're here to look you in the eye and to deliver the recognition you earned 5 years ago, because what you did at Abbey Gate was not just a display of exceptional tactical skill and bravery. It was the very definition of the warrior spirit that we're reviving in the War Department and that preserves our nation and underpins our national defense. The mission these Marines were given was almost unfathomably unpredictable and difficult, fraught with an unknown amount of risk, yet known at the same time, which is sort of the worst duality that you can have. By upgrading these awards, we are stating clearly that America's warriors will be fiercely supported and our military's lethal edge will not be compromised by desk-bound bureaucrats or lawyers in the cheap seats. It's 8:50. Final break and then back for the final segment of the Dave Elswick Show.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
If you're a local business and ready for the next step, Google Salem Surround Little Rock today. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level.
The rules of retirement are changing fast. Retirement strategies that worked 5 years ago could leave your life savings wide open to financial disaster today. How can you stay ahead of the changes that jeopardize your financial future? You need Generational Wealth Strategies. This is Steve Marston. Generational Wealth Strategies gives you the secrets of the super wealthy, tactics to help you slash your taxes, protect your assets, and provide lasting security for your family. Every month, Generational Wealth Strategies, 4 of America's top legacy experts, provide one complete resource, scanning financial, medical, legal, and tax landscapes to give you simple solutions to turn your estate into a fortress of financial security. The government keeps changing the rules to take more of your money. With Generational Wealth Strategies, you'll have the tools to fight back and preserve your wealth for yourself, your kids, and your grandkids. Sign up for Generational Wealth Strategies today. Visit eaglepub.com/KDXE. That's eaglepub.com/KDXE.
This is 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Start your day with Dave Elswick in the morning, breaking down the stories shaping Arkansas and the nation and hearing what you have to say. Then in the afternoon, join Doc Washburn as he takes on the biggest headlines, asks the tough questions, and opens the phones for real conversation. Because on 101.1, The Answer, talk radio means your voice matters. Call in, sound off, be a part of the discussion at 501-401-1011. Plus, hear from some of the biggest names in talk radio. CNN Scott Jennings, Mike Gallagher, Larry Elder, bringing you smart analysis, strong opinions, and the debate everyone's talking about. Local voices, national perspective, and your chance to be heard. 501-401-1011. 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. The Dave Elswick Show is back. 101.1, The Answer.
All right, back with you. Final segment of a Thursday edition of the Dave Elswick Show. Meta reached a $18 billion settlement with states over social media impact on youth. Meta does not want to pay out in full unless and until TikTok and YouTube also agree to new safety measures. The story in the Wall Street Journal had this. Meta Platforms agreed to an $18 billion settlement with 48 state attorneys general, bringing an end to a massive federal trial over social media's harm to teenagers and ushering in a new era of tech companies having legal responsibility for their platforms. As part of the settlement agreement, Meta will also make sweeping changes to its services, Facebook and Instagram, including implementing a default 2-hour time limit on its apps for users under 18. In a unique setup, Meta will pay out only 70% of the settlement unless TikTok and YouTube, which is owned by Alphabet, also agrees to set default 1 hour time limits a day on their apps for underage users and each pay the states roughly $5.3 billion. Meta will only pay the remaining 30% of its settlement, which is also $5.3 billion, if the two other companies agree to the terms. That is reported by the Wall Street Journal. Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer in Florida didn't join the Meta settlement. The payouts are peanuts compared to the profound harm that Meta's profit-driven addictive features inflicted on kids and a slap on the wrist for a $1 trillion corporation that'll pay more to lawyers than to the states themselves. We'll see them at trial. So Florida was not part of this. They're going after them on their own and doesn't have anything here talking about what they're going to be going after Meta about. Now, I can kind of understand why Meta or Google was who you knew them as until they changed their name. You want to make sure you're not paying more than what TikTok and other platforms are paying. So it will be interesting to see how this all works its way out. Don't expect a decision next week. All right. Don't hold your breath, because you're going to die if you try to hold your breath until they come to an agreement on all of this. So we'll have to find out. We'll keep an eye on that as it goes on. But it's just amazing that, and I agree with what the Attorney General of Florida said. They made trillions of dollars, Meta did, over their algorithms that they used. They knew that they were causing problems. They continued to do those problems. I really believe that when they showed up in front of the committees that they did between the House and the Senate, I think they believed that they get a slap on the wrist. And it wasn't going to be a big thing. But fathers and mothers and citizens of this country said, hey, wait a second. You made a lot of money off of this, and we've got the smoking gun that says you knew that this was highly addictive, and you kept on doing what you did. So I don't know if they'll even have that by the end of the year or not. Tomorrow, since we'll have Justin Hillman on, and we bring him on to talk about what's going on in the Middle East. He's a former member of the IDF, and he can talk from a whole lot of knowledge. We'll talk about, is Iran planning an October surprise attack? Are they doing that? What are the signs that we're seeing? That's the first thing up tomorrow here on the Dave Elswick Show. And then I think Razorback Zach's going to be in tomorrow. And we'll be talking about the first Arkansas game that's just around the corner. You have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow on the radio on 101.1 FM, The Answer.